Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota officially signed a bipartisan bill into law tonight designed to get school resource officers back into schools. The bill funds training, establishes clear duties for SROs, they say, and requires the Peace Officer Standards and Training, or POST group, to develop a model policy. The bill clarifies a law passed last year, which limited when and how SROs could restrain students in schools. It led to some departments across the state, including Moorhead, pulling officers from school buildings, worried about legal issues. The latest version of the bill clarifies that officers are not school employees, therefore not subject to staff's tighter restrictions. However, the ban on chokeholds will remain.